Well, let me start with this. So Uganda's on my mind this morning because I made that post about Uganda. 2014, I'm living at a secondary school on a tropical hillside in the country. Amazing view. I mean, waking up there in the mornings. The freshness of the air, the smell of the fire. And a number of these boys, they would come seek me out. They would run up to me when they see me on campus. And there was this hunger for being around an elder. They wanted to prove themselves and test themselves. They need that kind of play, that kind of roughhousing, to know themselves as not a sissy boy, a boy that can take it, can defend himself, can fight back. Hand the young man a knife. On Being an Elder continued. This is our series. We're here in Medellín.
Coming to the crux, to the vital, the pivotal part that an elder can play in a young man's life.
Yes.
Hand him a knife.
Hand him a knife.
Literally or metaphorically.
There's a hunger in a young man and a boy to want to enter manhood, to want to be like his elders, to want to become a man. In many ways, the overprotecting mother she fears all that. You know, she fears him going out into the world. She fears him playing with knives. She fears him playing with fire. It's fear, you know. And she wants to make him a good boy. She wants to keep him safe. And many times today, these young guys are being raised by single mothers.
And by the way, that's the role of the mom. There's nothing wrong with it that she tries to do that. That is her role, you know.
But only by single mothers. And then they go to school. Almost all their teachers are women. So much closer.
You think they didn't notice this? They said much closer. Hey.
Hans likes to get way up into the camera.
I think it will enhance our viewers
right up
if
his
I'm
nose.
taking up more of the screen.
Thinks he's more beautiful.
So you go to school.
Well, let me start with this. So Uganda's on my mind this morning because I made that post about Uganda.
So I am in Uganda.
2014. I'm living at it's like a secondary school.
The internet.
My Wi-Fi is gone here. Hang on. We got two phones going here at the same time. And mine has a poor wireless connection. All right, Hans, we're using yours for this time.
Okay.
I am on a tropical hillside in the country. Amazing view. I mean, waking up there in the mornings, the freshness of the air, the smell of the fire, the sounds of the students who lived on campus, the nuns, the others, like a whole community. Just the sounds of like everyone waking up together, going for water, pumping water, making the chapati. You know, it's such a beautiful thing to wake up to. You know, like waking up on a farm. All the food that we ate was all farmed by them. You know, in the fields around the school, the cattle, around the school. It's such a beautiful. It's hard to describe the feeling waking up there, but there were, these young boys that are living on campus, and it's run by nuns. So it's run by kind of austere, large, stern African nuns. And
so none of the maid mothering.
None of the mothering. I don't know, it's a lot of discipline, but the point being all female, for the most part. Although probably the majority of the teachers were male. but the ultimate authority were the nuns. And I had a number of these boys. They would come seek me out. They would run up to me when they see me on campus. And there was this hunger for being around an elder. And there was this hunger for learning to fight. There was this hunger for challenging themselves physically. And they had this like kind of like a scouting program or a scouting course. And I went and attended, one or two of these sessions, and the things that the male teacher was teaching them, I can't remember what it was, but there was like something having to do with like being a spy or something. And of course, all young boys, you want to learn to become a spy, a killer, a scout, an explorer.
James Bond.
Yeah. And I just remember the skill that they were learning was kind of like, I don't know, really, I judged it definitely. But the hunger was there, It was kind of like a goofy skill. And so I taught some of these kids, to an extent, some martial arts, some Muay Thai. And there was these two young boys in particular, about 14 years old, just precious in their desire for like kind of, Michael, help make us more of a man, help make us more dangerous, And we would go on runs, and they would just, they're dressed for school in their school uniforms and their dress shoes, flip-flops, whatever. They would run miles in whatever they had, It didn't matter. That was their hunger. Mm-hmm. They wanted to prove themselves and test themselves. And as we were laughing at the beginning of our broadcast here, but you and I were together in Oaxaca with Liliana and her three boys for Christmas in 2000, maybe 18 or 19, I think, Christmas. 2020?
Yes.
And I gave her three boys pocket knives, for, among other things, for Christmas presents. And I actually bought these with her, and her panic and like her why, like they're gonna hurt themselves, and these boys had no father present in their life.
Man, it's one of the defining moments when you have a pocket. I remember having the feeling of my first. I see the pocket knife still in my hand. I don't know where I got it from though. Like, but it's like a whole new world opens up. It was brown, just one like this, and you feel it's different. That knife is just, So I'm imagining the value of maybe I got it from my father, but I don't remember it. But imagine the value of an elder, of a man giving that to you,
Yes. Yeah, and having a guy around to, an older man to put him in headlocks, to beat up on him, like an older brother. It's very much, they need that kind of play, that kind of roughhousing, to know themselves as not a sissy boy, a boy that can take it, can defend himself, can fight back. They're not going to get that from their mother. And it's like, I worry about boys like that who take on their mother's mentality around roughhousing.
I want to get clear. It's not the fault of the moms, it's because the father's role or the elder's role is not being played by anyone.
Well,
the structure of it.
I don't want to let the moms totally off the hook here. There is a prevailing notion being spread amongst many women. I don't need a man, and hey, you don't need that guy, like as if he's not important in the lives of his children, and there's a discardability
Yes.
about men that many women are in agreement about right now. And so the part about being a mother and being caring and being overly protective is she's also playing her role, the nurturing side.
I want to, and maybe this is for an exploration of last time, but I think it's almost like it has to be like this, that the mother role is to protect and like no knives, and that the elder or the masculine role is to do it anyway. So you can't expect from a woman to cater to that in any way. In fact, she has to protest it. She has to say, this is what I think it has to, how it should show up, you know. And so it's not that women have dropped the ball, it's that men have dropped the ball.
No. Yes, men have, and women have. And I don't want to let women off the hook here. You know, that there really is in their discarding of, you know, men in a lot of ways, with a lot of rising feminist ideals that are spread amongst women, you know, that get together and encourage a woman to leave her husband, you know. Especially when there's 3 boys at home, or there's young daughters at home, you know. This role of father cannot be replaced by the mother. And so they should be very careful in their discarding of the man, because they cannot father their sons like a father can.
And they cannot elder their sons.
Yes. And it's, you know, my mom picked up that father role a lot, in ways that she saw my father was not there for it. But she also rebelled hard against the masculine.
Whatever the cause is, or whatever we explain, I think the great thing about this, there's a great opportunity for men to be an elder, you know.
Yes.
There's a great opportunity for men that this, whatever is happening, that you can pick up that load, you can take, and you have the key to, you can solve this. You can solve this more than women can solve it. You know?
Despite the protestations of the mother,
Yes.
of the women, and going back to
especially in the face of those protestations.
and going back,
It's
I
great.
don't know if it was our episode
It's not
yesterday or 2 days ago. In the face of their protestations, my point is to confront the women,
Yes.
to confront the mother, even about their ideology about manhood, danger, the patriarchy, you know. Jordan Peterson talks, he says that a good man is not, what did he say, something like,
A good man is not a safe man. A good man is a dangerous man.
yeah, he's allowed himself to become dangerous, and then he keeps that in check, in
Yes.
control.
The power to destroy.
Because you know, to be a really good man, to be a man that is trustworthy, that his people can count on, he needs to be willing to fight, to confront, to put himself in danger, and to bare his teeth when need be.
It's interesting that you say buried his teeth. You cannot, people will not get this, but this is why also, for example, PC will fight this, but that there's a great attraction with women, with vampires, meaning the guy has to kill. He needs to. It's like, he wants to, and then he chooses not to. You know, it's that tension between not just being able to kill or destroy, but almost like feeling that desire, and then holding that in check, knowing how to guide that. You know, so
I've told the stories before on this podcast a few times, so I won't tell them again, but I'll bring up the general, you know, point. My grandfather, you know, when I was 12, 13, 14, he would constantly hand me the knife, you know.
you're hungry? There you go.
He brought me out to castrate the young sheep, you know, and I had to hold the baby sheep while their mother is crying and the baby's crying, as he bites off their testicles and then burns the whole clothes, cuts off the tail, burns it closed, blood squirting everywhere, the scent of burnt blood in the air, you know, and then takes me to the dead sheep hanging upside
Yes.
down, hands me a knife, says, I want you to skin it, gut it, walks away. driving home from church one day, sees a bunch of prairie dogs in the field over there, stops the truck, grabs his 22, tells me, see how many of those I can hit, you know.
It's crazy. I remember now a story with my uncle. So speaking of an elder, the brother of my father, and we're all farmers in the family, and we were going to go out and get the cows. And I have zero experience, you know. I have zero experience to go and get them. But I felt a great challenge, you know, to participate, and I want to be part of it. And he has 2 sons, you know, and we're trying to catch the cows, okay? And I don't know if I don't think they were bulls, but you know, we're trying to catch the cows, and the cows would like try to run away, and they would run right at you too. But the cow will not run into you. They will stop, but it looks very fucking scary, you know, they're coming at you. But I felt so great being challenged by that, you know. The cows would come at me, and his sons would run away, you know. And I would not run away, you know, because I wanted to prove myself. And the cows would come, and we still, I don't know if we got the cows, but in the end, my uncle we were sitting, and I remember this moment, we were sitting at dinner with his 2 sons and me, and he was telling the story of catching cows, and he was commenting on the skills and what anyone was good at and bad, you know. And Hans, you don't have the skills, but you got the courage, you know. And my sons, you know, they don't have the courage, they got the skills. He was like commenting as if he was commenting a fight or something, you know. And I thought it was so great, you know. It still sticks with me, you know.
Yeah.
So I was challenged, you know, just go and stand in front of the cows,
Yes,
you know,
yes.
in the face of danger.
Yes. Yeah, that's very much needed, these young men. Not just the young men today, but in general. And more challenge, and more challenge, and more challenge. When I was back in Texas a few months ago, my brother Dave came out from California. It's my brother John's house, and then I'm there. So we have the 3 uncles on our side of the family. My sister brings her 2 boys and daughter, and then 1 or 2 of the sons from my other sister were there. And John, who has a huge stockpile of guns, like he's really ready for the you know, the government to fail or the government to overreach, you know. And I didn't go with him this time, but he took them out there shooting. Oh, and Dave's there with his youngest boy, Wyatt, who was so thrilled. He's like 7 years old, something like this, 7, 8 years old. And his dad had bought him a gun, but he'd kept it with Uncle John. He's not ready to shoot it yet, you know. And he got to shoot his 22 for the first time. Just the excitement, you know, of shooting the first gun, feeling that power, you know. He goes around, you know, he wants to be the something Rangers, Power Rangers, and you know, he's always dressed up like a superhero, you know. This is but real gun, you know, in American schools today, Hans, you can get in trouble as a little boy for even making like your fingers into a gun formation and pointing them at another kid. Like it's they somehow think that this is going to be a positive thing for civilization.
I remember also the neighbor of my uncle. I'm visiting, and he has this gun, like with this little metal. How do you call that? This special guns. You could kill a bird with it.
BB gun?
BB gun, something like this.
Yeah.
And he just gave it to me. Like, go, you know. And I'm like, I remember the feeling going in the garden, you know, and like, I got this gun now, and I'm sneaking and looking at birds, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing like a cross, you know, and I'm pointing and I'm shooting, and the bird dies, man. I'll never forget it. I see the bird, bam, you know, and it's so powerful, that moment. You know, I'm not judging it or bad or.
I would have thought you'd be shooting vegetables or something in the garden. Hans is vegan, so we have a bit of a debate going on about animals and such.
Maybe it was a vegetable, but just to feel like that of sneaking around, you know, and having that power, and then seeing the power to the kill,
Yeah.
it was just, it's defining, man.
Yes.
It's defining. It's so important.
So then, I don't know if it was the same day or a later day, but Dave, you know, big time into boxing his whole adult life anyway. Was an amateur boxer for a while. Learned Muay Thai. He's always wanting to put on the gloves, you know. And I'm always kind of starting trouble, hitting the nephews, hitting my brothers, and they're all pretty much bigger than me by now, so that always puts me in trouble. But I love the battling anyway. We said, okay, let's all get, you know, a family affair, and we all got in the garage, and like sisters, nieces, uncles, nephews, sons. There must have been 20 of us, maybe, in the garage, and we're, you know, 2 by 2. We're sitting around, and the bell rings, you know, and there's a referee, and there's coaches on each side, and we're beating the hell out of each other. Nephew against nephew, brother against brother, you know, and it was so powerful. Katrina says this. It was so great for my boys to be around their uncles, you know, and to be in that space of danger and manhood and confrontation and violence, and the eyes of my nephews, you know, as they see their uncles trying to knock the shit out of their you know, each other.
Was this when your nephew messed up your face?
My face was already messed up. So Dave sat me on my ass a couple times. He is about 80 pounds heavier than me. But yeah, oh, so much fun, so necessary, and so even taboo in today's modern world.
I remember if Zan is watching us visiting his brother, Braden, who's so funny. And we would play, they always play games, you know. And then if Braden or Zan would guide it, they went into this rough games, you know. And one of the son of the girlfriend of Braden, you know, was really needed to see and feel it, you know. And it was just so awesome. We would play a game called Ultimate Frisbee, but not in the, you know, you had to protect one side, and you had to try to throw it in, and it went rougher and rougher and rougher, you know, with Zan even smacking me to the ground, and he was like, fuck, you know. But it's great, you know. You gotta go there, and you gotta flirt with breaking a tooth, you know.
Yeah, a mama's boy is gonna have a very, very difficult time among men, among women, in life in general. He's not going to have the respect of men, and he's not going to have the respect of women, and that's going to be a very tough life.
Okay, well, here, maybe playing advocate of the devil. One way is to say you got to prepare the boy because this is how the world is. Another way, and that would be the other side, is like trying to change the world. So we don't need to be rough. We don't need to be prepared.
This is what many people are trying to do these days.
So why is that not a valuable solution? Or a valid solution?
One, because certain things are not going to change. We have a nature. We have a biology, you know. And when the shit hits the fan and some of those males do get aggressive and you have no good men to stand up to fight them, you're seriously fucked.
Yeah, but is that not given in to that violence? And could you not also change everything so it's not needed anymore? So those
it's giving in to violence. Yeah, not preparing for the violence is guaranteeing the violence. It's guaranteeing the mass slaughter.
Why is that? What if
because there are peoples who will run through man, woman, and child to have their way.
What if we educate them and those people don't exist no more?
Yes, it's a very idealistic thought. What if we educate the chimpanzees and the baboons and the whatever?
Well, that's a bit. Please explore it with me. Don't just go, huh? Because that's the reasoning. So.
Yes, that's the reasoning.
So.
Yes.
What if we do that? What if we just educate?
Many people are they're trying this.
And there's no violence anymore.
Yeah, we've been trying to make boys more and more docile, and it certainly does prevent them from going into the school with AR-15s and shooting up all their classmates. Like, that's worked really well.
Yeah, I don't think you really, because I think there's another way to answer that, you know, than the one you just did.
Yeah,
which is even on the interpersonal level, if a woman, if someone else doesn't feel like you have the power to destroy and choose not to, there won't be any respect. There will not be any respect. And if, like Nietzsche talks about this too, you know, cultivate your will to power. You need to have that power for the other to respect you. You need to have that power for the other to be able to be in peace with you, you know.
Yeah.
And so it's not just, oh, you're violent and you need to have the power because other people are going to be violent. No, to live a life of peace and respect and understanding, you need to develop and cultivate your will to power, and you need to have the power to destroy.
Yes, and the ones who are already destructive, already very high testosterone, very aggressive, even them, you put them into boxing and martial arts, you know, you could think, oh no, it's going to make them even more, you know, it's dangerous, don't put them there. But amongst their peers, one, they get humbled again and again and again. Two, they get an example of their teachers, men very respect-worthy, who are masters, who have mastered themselves, mastered their aggression. And it gives them a way to take out all that aggression, you know. It gives them a place to do that rather than exploding on the defenseless people in their life. So it's good for the boys who are not aggressive. It's also good for the boys who are aggressive. You know, I was actually watching a video this morning as I was sitting in the cafe. I left. Every morning I walk across Medellín. It's a very beautiful, walkable city in Laureles these days. And if I have time, I stop for a flat white or two at a cafe called Revolucion.
Don't say where we hang out.
And top secret. That was actually a smoke screen. It's really not called that. It's called something else. And I was watching a video about 2 UFC fighters who are going to fight this Saturday. And these guys are killers, you know, trained killers, very experienced. They've each got like 40 fights in the UFC. This is a sport where you enter a cage and they lock the cage closed, and almost anything that they can do to each other is allowed. And it's just they're both, you know, that it's a face-to-face interview, and the one guy says, "I want to become champion. I fight for my family, and I'm willing to die. I'm ready to go." And the other one echoes the same thing. And what's interesting is both of these guys, kind of like Mike Tyson, have this very soft, quiet voice. Like you would not. These guys don't sound dangerous at all. But it's like they've become so dangerous, they don't need to project danger at all. They don't need to bring that into their public life. They are killers to such an extent that it doesn't matter if anyone even thinks they might be dangerous. You know, I was just remarking on that this morning on my walk over. But
yes, and so the role of the elder is to explore that for a younger man, to his will to power, his power to destroy, his danger. Give him a knife. Put him in the ring.
Yes. All right. I want to see more young boys with knives in the streets when I walk around these days, okay?
If your father hasn't given you a knife, contact Does.
Yeah, or a semi-automatic machine gun.
If you wanna explore this in, if you wanna explore how that looks, we're starting a Facebook group inside which we're gonna have trainings and explore these very ideas and roles more. We'll have trainings in, how to developing your will to power, your power to destroy. We'll have trainings on
also your power to create and to lead, and yes, how to become a dangerous force of good for your people.
I like that. A dangerous force of good for your people. If you want in, let us know. We're gonna go live next week, and you can already apply by sending us a message.
But if your mother, girlfriend, or wife would disapprove of you joining such a group, please, you're not allowed, okay? You're not allowed.
You may want to listen to them.